Hello everybody. Today we are going to discuss a topic on pathology. Topic of pathology, which is mainly included in second year syllabus. So before discussing that, some words about pathology. So what does pathology mean? Pathology came from two Greek words, pathos and logos. Pathos means suffering and logos means study. So pathology is the study of anatomical and physiological changes that come in a diseased cell or diseased tissue in our body. So today's topic of pathology is inflammation. Today's topic is inflammation, pathology. Let's remove it. Inflammation definition. Before writing down the definition, let's know about the basic concept of inflammation. So, what is the inflammation? Inflammation actually is body response to injury to any living cell. So, body response to any injury to any living cell is inflammation. Now, why? To limit that injury, to limit that factor causing injury, and to remove that injury. Another purpose of inflammation is also to help in healing. Now, how inflammation occurs? By bringing the cells, by bringing the molecules which are part of our body's defense mechanism, that is WBCs, plasma proteins, etc., to the location where the injury has occurred, to that point where the tissue injury has occurred. Let's assume I have an injury or cut in my palm. So what my body will do? It will bring a lot of bloods here, so that the defense mechanisms, the defense cells, our lymphocytes, monocytes, plasma proteins, etc., will be more bring in that part, be more and more in that part to limit that injury, to limit the factor that causing injury, and to heal that injury. So, what is the definition? Inflammation is a host response to injury to any living tissue. So whatever the cause is, it may be physical, it may be chemical, it may be due to bacteria or virus, whatever the cause is, inflammation will always be there when any of our living tissue is injured. So inflammation is a host response to injury to any living tissue. How and why? To bring cells and molecules like WBCs, like plasma proteins, to the site of injury. In the site of injury, there will be swelling, there will be vasodilatation, more and more blood will come to that site. The permeability of the capillary wall will increase, so that more plasma proteins and more WBCs can escape from blood vessels to interstitial fluid. the site of injury where they are needed to limit or eliminate injurious factor. So what are the injurious factors? So it can be anything. I discuss it later. To injurious, to limit or eliminate injurious factor and to help in healing. তাহলে সোজা ভাষায় ইনফ্লামেশন হলো আমাদের বডির রেসপন্স, যখন আমাদের বডির কোনো লিভিং টিস্যু ইনজিওর্ড হয়। এবার কিভাবে ইনফ্লেমড হয় সেই টিস্যু, না যে টিস্যু ইনফ্লেমড হয় সেখানে অনেক বেশি ব্লাড বডি পাঠায়, অনেক পরিমাণ ব্লাড আসে, কারণ সেখানে ভেসোডাইলেট হয়ে থাকে, সেখানে সোয়েলিং হয়, অনেক বেশি ব্লাড আসে, ব্লাডের থ্রুতে আমাদের যে ডিফেন্স সেলস লাইক ডব্লিউবিসিস এটসেট্রা অল সব কিছু সেইখানে সেই প্লেসে লোকেটেড হয়, স্পেসিফিক্যালি যেখানে ইনজুরি হয়েছে, এবং তার মাধ্যমে যে ইনজুরিয়াস ফ্যাক্টর যে কারণে ইনজুরি হয়েছে সেই ইনজুরিটাকে হয় এলিমিনেট অর লিমিট করা, তার সাথে হিলিং এও হেল্প করে। সো হোয়াট এভার দ্য কজ ইজ, হোয়াট এভার দ্য ইনজুরি ইজ, there will definitely the tissue will definitely be inflamed to eliminate the injurious factor and to help in healing. This is the basic concept of inflammation. Now the factors causing inflammation. Grossly the factors can be divided as factors number one, it may be infective. Like bacteria, virus, or their toxins. It may be immunological, antigen antibody reaction, it may be physical, like heat, cold, radiation, or it may be chemical, organic or inorganic, poisons, and the last thing materials like foreign body, in foreign body. So whatever the cause is, wherever the tissue is, any injury to any living tissue will cause inflammation. It may be in our CNS, it may be in our lungs, it may be in our kidney. The inflammation will be there. Now, cardinal signs. Cardinal signs of inflammation. How we will know that any tissue is inflamed? There are 5 cardinal signs. Liver, and so these are the 5 cardinal signs of inflamed tissue. So what does rubor means? Rubor means redness, because the blood flow will be increased in that area. The area will be reddish. So you can remember it like R for R, redness. We all know what tumor means. Tumor or swelling. The area will be swelled. The area will be hot. Calor. Calor, we can remember it as calorie means heat or energy. So calor means heat. The area will be hot. Dolor. Dolor means pain. Anywhere the inflammation will occur, there will feel the pain. And functionalesa means loss of function. Loss of function of the tissue that is inflamed. These are the 5 cardinal symptoms of inflammation. Now, type of inflammation. Type of inflammation. Before discussing types of inflammation, let me mention that in this part of video, I will only give a gross idea about inflammation. I will not elaborate the types because otherwise the topic will be too much elaborated and video will be too much lengthy and boring. So in this part I am giving a gross description about inflammation. In the next part I will give a detailed description about the types. So how many types are there? There are 2 types of inflammation, and I will discuss 2 types in 2 parts of videos. First is acute, second is chronic. Now, basic things about chronic and acute inflammation. We will read it, we will memorize it in a chart form so that it becomes more easy. So first one is onset. So from the word acute, we already know it has early onset. It has early onset, and in chronic, it has delayed onset. Next is duration, or again acute means small duration, commonly less than 2 weeks, and chronic has longer duration. So acute is early in onset but smaller in duration, and chronic is delayed in onset and longer in duration. Now, cardinal signs. Cardinal signs, 5 cardinal signs are always present in acute inflammation. Present. And in chronic inflammation, it may present or may not be present. It may or may not be present. Number 4, plasma exudate. I will discuss what is plasma exudate in the next part of the video. Now you only remember the point named plasma exudate in acute. This present in acute, and in chronic imperceptible. I will discuss all these things in the next part in detail. Now only the points. Next is systemic effect. In acute inflammation, there will be high grade fever. In chronic inflammation, there will be low grade fever. Sorry. In acute inflammation, there will be leukocytosis, In acute inflammation, there will be leukocytosis. In chronic inflammation, we will found raised ESR or erythrocyte sedimentation rate. We all know raised ESR means infection. There will be amyloidosis. Etc. In in case of chronic inflammation, there will be leukocytosis also, particularly mild leukocytosis. In chronic case, leukocytosis may present, but it will be mild. Next is main morphology. Next part is main morphology. Abscess. Another one is ulcer. In chronic case, chronic non-specific inflammation. Chronic non-specific inflammation or granular inflammation. Granular inflammation, like very common TB or tuberculosis. Next is fate. That means what will happen after the whole inflammatory process is complete. Fate. Healing. Resolution. In chronic case, there will be also healing and resolution as well. Healing, resolution, and there will be also dystrophic calcification. Dystrophic calcification. Last is the example. What are the examples of acute and chronic inflammation? Acute pyogenic abscess, cellulitis, bacterial pneumonia. So pyogenic abscess, cellulitis, bacterial pneumonia, in chronic case, examples are TB, leprosy, etc. Last part is mediators of inflammation. So we can grossly divide the mediators in two types: cell derived and plasma protein derived. last, mediators. Mediators are two types, cell derived and plasma derived. So first, cell derived mediators. Here we will also memorize it in chart form and also write down in exam in chart form. So cells involved. Their products and their functions. So in cell derived, first mast cell and basophil. Number one, mast cells and basophils, which produces histamine, which will cause increase in capillary permeability. I have already mentioned that at the site of inflammation, the capillary permeability will increase so that plasma proteins and WBCs, antibodies, those can come to the interstitial fluid from capillary. Next is platelets. Product is serotonin. It will also cause increased capillary permeability. Next is inflammatory cells. This produces number one, prostaglandin. Prostaglandin causes vasodilatation. So vessels are dilated, vasodilatation. So that more amount of blood can come to the site of inflammation, vasodilatation. Next is leukotrienes. It increases permeability again. Then lysosomal enzymes. Lysosomal enzymes causes tissue destruction. Destruction in tissue. Next is platelet activating factors. This also causes increased permeability. So I will remove this and the remaining I will write it down above. From here to here, cytokines. It causes fever. And oxygen metabolites. all about cell derived factors. Next comes plasma derived factors. So what are the plasma derived factors? First is clotting and fibrinolytic system. First, clotting and fibrinolytic system. They produces fibrin degradation product, fibrin split product, fibrin split product. Next is kinin system. Kinin system. They produce kinins and bradykinins. Kinin, bradykinin. And the last one is complement system. Complement system. Complement system produces anaphylatoxins. So function of all these things are to increase permeability. Increase permeability of capillary. So this is a gross idea about inflammation. In next class, I will describe acute inflammation, and the later part I will describe the chronic inflammation. And believe me, those two videos are going to be very interesting. So stay tuned. And this is all about the session. So thank you. Goodbye. Take care and stay happy.